a special tournament episode of Moshi Moshi Podcast. That's I'm Zach here with.
It's March Madness. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Dude, that'd be horrible if somebody named their kid March Madness. Like, first of all, how is your last name Madness? Like, Mr. and Mrs. Madness? Like, they're the most chill people ever. They're just like, hello.
It's like, welcome to the Madness home, where everything is just fine.
In the corner, there's like a kid killing a cat. Yeah, everything's fine.
We're not mad.
Just fine.
Only in March. Only in March are we mad.
That's when they come out. It's like, oh God, do you know what month it is? It's March. Yes, but we're in the neighborhood with the Madness family. Oh dear God. Y'all not doing nothing. Yes, tournament episode, not a bonus episode. This is going to be part of the regular episode program where we go all out on a tournament, see who wins. Well, we kind of decided it's not going to be like one of those like, well, you'll decide, because goddamn that.
and we already have a show for that. Info.
So pick a side.
Yeah. Info to be coming soon on the rest of those coming out. So I guess stay tuned.
But yes, this time we are doing a battle of. Oh, I had a fucking mouse cursor like, hi. I was like, what is that? We have a thing of space odysseys. So that is the tournament of trying to see which one we believe or which franchise is the best space odyssey. What are you doing this for?
I'm pointing to the logo on the screen.
Oh, I thought you were just like, hey, on the frontier.
my hand was behind the microphone, so then I had to move it in front of the microphone for it to pick it up.
Yeah, because it's just like, disappears. Yeah, the camera can't catch us, but like, it only can do so much of like, here he is.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so as you could see by the graphic around us, we each have 4 series below me, 4 series below Lincoln, and the first 2 that we're going to be discussing on this tournament episode, this return to tournaments, Moshi Moshi Podcast, is Mobile Suit Gundam versus Star Wars, which, I mean, it's
hey man, they're both collections of space out, because like Gundam, there's Mobile Suit Gundam, there's Gundam Wing, there's G Gundam, which is it really space? It's just normally on Earth for most of the goddamn thing, but still, a lot of Mobile Suit Gundams still going on. Seed, even though only one of our friends likes Seed. Fucking loves that goddamn thing. And then you have Star Wars, which of course you have the original trilogy, the other the trilogy that came before. You have, of course, boatload of fucking like cartoons and comics that are based off just one person. Just like, okay, this guy never had a story, so whole thing's gonna be about him, I guess. Or making up new things like the meta. Just say it. I can't say it. The Mandalorian. Or Mandalorian?
Mandalorian.
Okay. Fuck you.
I should get a graphic on the screen where it's like Mandalorian. Yeah, Mandalorian.
Okay, gotcha. I'm just kidding. Okay. Make fun. Everyone make fun of the duck as Daffy. But yes. So many different ones of that. So tell people who don't know about the robots that were before. Right? Is Mobile Suit Gundam before Transformers?
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
I believe so.
So I was right. Okay. We always get surprised by dates. Like, no, this came out before. You're like, this came out in 1940.
Yeah. I mean, Transformers, I believe, was the 80s. Mobile Suit Gundam was 79.
That makes sense.
So it was just before. But, yeah, Mobile Suit Gundam, we're talking about... And to be fair, Star Wars also from the 70s. But Mobile Suit...
People like sci-fi back then.
Oh, of course. Mobile Suit Gundam, a long-running, multi-franchise... You know, this... you could say that this pretty much solidified the genre of mecha. I mean, also Robotech, Macross, whatever you want to say about that. But Mobile Suit Gundam, it kind of just set the standard, right? And there's more good to great series than there are bad series. That's one thing I can just bring up right off the bat. I mean, don't watch Reconquista in G. I warn you, don't do that if you're ever gonna watch Gundam.
There's at least a fan group like, how dare you? When I wake up, I watch it. When I go to sleep, I watch it. As I'm taking a poo, I'm watching it.
I mean, it's such a diverse series because, like, people might think, oh well, it's just robots, blah blah blah, but but that's Transformers, by the way. That's just robots. But Mobile Suit.
Oh god, but that they in suit like all humans. God, just I just want to see the mechs. I don't care about these people and their lives.
but I mean, but Gundam, it's so unique with all the different series where, like, you can watch the original series and be entertained by the drama and the story. You can watch Gundam Wing, which came out 96, so we're talking like years and years after the original, and it's amazing. V Gundam you can watch if you're just depressed and you want to be more depressed about life, because V Gundam is just V Gundam is like the Game of Thrones of Gundams, in that if you like a character, don't, because they probably won't live long enough for you to all the characters die anyways.
Yeah.
But Gundam Seed is another one that stands out. I mean, hey, like we were saying, we know someone who really likes Gundam Seed. Gundam Seed Destiny is trash. Don't watch that. That's horrible. Unicorn Gundam.
Yeah, those fans are just like...
Unicorn Gundam is amazing. Iron-Blooded Orphans. I mean, these are just multiple series. Like I said, they have more bad than good. When I'm thinking about comparing it to Star Wars, when it's like Star Wars has 9 movies plus spin-off movies, and not all the movies are good. I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, but
they bring a lot of money to the bank. That's what I'm saying. It's a business, baby.
That's true. That's true. Well, but hey, but so is Gundam. I mean, Gundam pretty much exists so they could sell toys, so they could sell the little models to people.
Oh, those are more than just toys. God, toys are like, I'm going to just pay $40, maybe $20. Buy a thing, figurine. We're gonna need $300, and you have to build it yourself.
Yeah, that's
what was Cybertron like? Over what, 10 grand or some shit?
Well, that's Transformers. But...
Sorry. Oh, sorry. Gundam. Sorry, my bad.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know why it was with Cybertron in there.
You just keep thinking Transformers.
No, but a lot of a lot of Mobile Suit Gundams are really expensive too with the figurines, and like I said, have to build it yourself. Hell, even the fucking crap. What's the regular mechs called? Not Gundams.
GoBots.
The one with the one eyes.
Oh, Zaku's.
Even those are fucking expensive. I'm like, this is not a gun. It just has a fucking gun. Also, get props for them that have beam swords before lightsabers was a thing.
No, not necessarily. A lightsaber. Star Wars was before this. Star Wars was before Mobile Suit Gundam.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, then you took it, and I'm going to put that as a mark for me. Thank you for rectifying.
Sure.
But yeah.
But I mean, I like that Gundam. I mean, in another reality, Gundam can be like, it could be some bare bones, cheap series that only tries to sell the toys, right? Like, it could just be like a crappy.
All the Hasbro company.
Yeah, right. It could totally be that, but it's not, and that's what I like about it. It's like, yes, they want to sell the toys. Yes, they want to sell this show to a network to have it air for a full season, which some Gundam series didn't make full season. Not all of them, but a few. Like After War Gundam X, which is a great series that should have lasted longer, but they kind of cut it off at the knees. But it's like the story is what draws you in and what makes you care. So, and makes you care about characters that aren't even like close to being the main character or side character. Like, a perfect example would be, there's a character named Rambo Ral, and he's in the very first series, and he's probably in like a couple of episodes, and he's a general, I believe, for
Mm.
the um, for Xeon. Could be getting that totally wrong. I think he is. I totally forget. But either way, it's
Guess you're not gonna win Gundam trivia.
yeah, Gundam trip. Yeah. Either way, he's his character is used to kind of show that even though you're in a war, you're still human. Like you still can relate to your enemy, and you can still, you know, have that sense of like, look, I mean, I respect you. I kind of like I watched the like 2 or 3 episodes that he was in and what happens to him and stuff like that, and I was like, man, that's a fucking great character. like, and like, not that Star Wars doesn't have that, but
Mm.
I think Gundam it's almost like it's shocking. Like for people that don't know a thing about Gundam, they might on the surface be like, "Oh, that just looks like robots shooting things." But it has like way more depth than you imagine, especially like Gundam Wing. Like Gundam Wing is incredibly in depth with the story and what's going on and the characters, and you care about like these people. Like, you don't just care about the Gundams, you care about what's going on to the people. I mean, shit, even a really bad Gundam, or okay, I don't want to say really bad, but it's just not as good. It's an average
Yeah.
Gundam. Gundam
Well,
Gundam
the
Age.
Gundams are always reused. A
Not
lot of them.
not necessarily, no. I mean, every series they change the Gundam and make it completely a different
Wait, isn't it like the? Well, I cannot. I don't know why I don't remember the name of the Gundam from Gundam Wing, like the main character. The
Wing Gundam or Gundam
Wing Gundam.
Zero.
Is it
Yeah.
just Wing Gundam?
I think it's Wing
Yeah,
Gundam, yeah.
they use that one a lot.
Well, in Gundam Wing,
That's
yeah. But not
no,
in
but like,
not in other Gundams, no.
but isn't it the same Gundam as G Gundam?
No. No, G Gundam is a completely different Gundam.
No, no. Well, okay, sorry. I'm not saying that it's like but it's the same face. Like it's the same, isn't it?
Give or
They
take,
look very familiar. They look very similar.
they kind of use a similar template for some of the faces, but they're not literally the same. And
Okay, okay.
yeah. And I mean, and it really changes with Turn A Gundam. Like Turn A Gundam does not look like a regular Gundam. He looks so weird. But either way, like what I was saying with like Gundam Age is an average Gundam series, right? But even in that, like they were still able to make you somewhat care
Oh
about
yeah,
the
he looks completely different in Turn A. I'm sorry.
yes, yeah. It's got like a moon shaped type thing on the top. It's like an upside down.
Dude, it looks like a beetle, but a Gundam.
Yeah. But
Like they made a Hercules beetle into a Gundam. Like, yep, this is it.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, in Gundam Age, they make you at least semi care about the characters. I cared more about the ship. The ship was like, it was like, wow, that because not to spoil it, but I don't recommend you watch Gundam Age because you'll be disappointed. But at the end of the final arc, the ship that they use the entire series, which the series is split into 3 generations, so this ship has been around for like 30, 40, 50 years, whatever. The ship gets destroyed, and all the characters are standing there watching it blow up, and it's like, you feel bad about the ship. Because the ship is what mattered. Like, the characters are whatever, but
Well,
the
it was
ship
like
is
One
the thing.
Piece when they fucking made us cry. Like, they're just burning fucking like wood and shit. This should mean
No,
nothing.
they're
Like,
burning memories. That's what they're burning.
yeah, pretty much. And you're like, damn, okay. And I give them props for making you feel for stuff. Like same thing with like. Well, actually, I didn't mean to. I was wondering how long you're gonna go.
Oh no, you could just cut in because
Okay, so like Star Wars, not the Final Frontier, but in a world long ago, in a time long ago, with all the amazing music, you got your Jedi's, which, to be honest, they're space wizards. Let's just be honest with ourselves.
they have
That's
magic.
where like magic and the Force that only certain people can tap into. But like you have your Jedi's, you have your Sith, but it's not only all just based on the battle between good and evil. But also you got the Gray, you got your mercenaries, which are way too more interesting. Like they're so interesting with like Boba Fett and all the clones and all the backlash of what happened with the Clone Wars. You get to see like clashes of like morality and stuff like that. Because hell, the Jedi are supposed to be peacekeepers, but like, yeah, no, they're warriors who can defeat like over what 40 drones normally on a day, on a good day, just like yeah, okay, and all these things, and they get into the affairs of the government and stuff like that. And even though they're working for the side of good, they get to a point where like they're almost like questioning themselves, like, are we actually doing good for humanity? Like, we're at war with this other thing, and the separatists and all the other stuff like that. And the Emperor takes over because Palpatine had like what the greatest fucking plan ever. I'm just gonna sit here as a senator and make these people just keep doing what I want them to do, while all at the same time literally trying to defeat them. Like, okay, that's cool. But even that, like, they still have like this, of course, separate stories, and like the Mandalorian and all the other like characters. Even now, we're going to go into Boba Fett, Baby Yoda. There's a lot of interesting stories. Also, the fact that like I have to give it to George Lucas to have so many fucking alien species. Like Gundam has humans. There's most of them are always humans or some version of like, well, technically we're Martians because we were born in Mars. Like
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
normally humans.
We live on the moon. We live on Mars. We live, yeah. Which
What did it call them? Moonies?
oh, I don't remember. Which I think it speaks more to the realism of Gundam compared to other shows like that. Is that
That's
like
true.
it's humans dealing with human shit, like
Yeah.
in a space world. You know.
To be honest, I think it would complicate things if they actually put other races in Gundam, because then you're like, oh god, now we gotta know about these races. But like Star Wars has to, because it's like galactic enterprise of like certain things. I keep using Star Trek things, but I just love their words. But so galactic expansion of stuff, and every planet has a story. Like even though this war, that was a weird part about Star Wars, is they really put in the whole like wars against star systems. Like there were so many times like, oh, we're gonna go to Tatooine, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go we're gonna go back to here. Hell, and that nightmare fuel, whatever the fuck those cave spiders are, they can burn. I don't give a shit. Like, that is terrifying. Like, Star Wars proved to be why it would suck for space exploration. Like, oh, no, I like our creatures, and we don't really see a lot of them unless we go to that place. I would not want to see a planet of what the fuck spiders that shit is. And hell, you have to always wonder, can you breathe this fucking air? Like, it's very bad. But, wait, sorry.
Well, I mean, I'm starting to think of, these two, like, think of these two series, and I'm like, Star Wars has a lot of spin-offs and stories and things like that, but they're all sort of tied into like,
oh, there's still like this main,
like the central
story that's going on. Because even like Star Wars Rebels, like they still take place in the timeline, which I have to give them props for, like having just like, okay, we're gonna have these movies, we're gonna have these 6 movies, and then all these cutscenes are going into this thing, and they can. I shouldn't say they can't stand alone at any means. Like, it's good to know certain characters, but at the same time, you could just watch Star Wars Rebels and just know the kind of stuff. Because the main things you have to, who's Yoda, and maybe Obi-Wan, and like maybe sometimes Anakin. Like, it's not crazy that you could always look this shit up, but it's like, it's not bad that they have these tie-ins and they keep the story slightly consistent.
But I guess what I'm getting at though is that Gundam does that, but also does alternate, like they're
timelines. Yes,
and I feel like they do them very well. Because Gundam Wing is an alternate timeline. G Gundam's an alternate timeline. Turn A, actually, most Gundam series are alternate timelines when you think about it.
Because there's like, what isn't there like? I don't think there's 3. There's like 2 main timelines that they like some of the Gundams fit into, and then there's like another alternate Gundam kind of timeline, and then there's just like these matter to nothing.
No,
there's
no.
a series of like.
It's one timeline for the Universal Century stuff, which is like the original series, Gundam Unicorn, some of the movies from the early on, and then every other Gundam that isn't in the Universal Century timeline is its own individual timeline.
Oh, okay, that's
so Gundam Wing and G Gundam are not in the same. After War Gundam X is not.
That would be so weird for them to have to like
explain, and it's like, well, shit. After Wing Gundam and Endless Waltz, the world decided we needed Gundam Fighter. Burning Finger.
When everything stopped being a lot of political. Oh God. That's the only thing I would ever give against Gundam Wing is like there's going to be times that you have to sit through politics. But the same thing kind of works with Star Wars. There are many times it's just like it's the set. They have to deliberate things. I'm like, that's how government works. And you kind of need like you can't just do it. People can't control themselves. But anyway, yeah. So Star Wars does have this odyssey of like going through different places, going through these strifes and struggles, even in the good or the bad, like because the Sith is like evil, but at the same time, like there's no person you could tell like, hey, I need you to stop your inhibitions. Yes, you get powers, but you can't love anyone because that's a risk. You can't like copulate or anything of that like that nature. Marriage, forget about it. Like it's, I'm like, you have to pretty much do the monk's lifestyle. I'm like, well, that would suck. And then the Sith is like, well, no, you can go into that inhibitions. You can have feelings and shit, but hate has to be like your number one. Like anger, just like indulge in that madness.
Hate.
Yeah, like it's just. I was like, okay, there's just some badness on both sides. Like one is like abstinence of everything, and the other one's like overindulgence. Like it's like, oh no, don't listen to them. They also the whole like fucking the Jedi the apprentice thing. That's craziness. Like there can only be a master and an apprentice. Anyone else like, oh, that apprentice is trying to get another apprentice, you kill them. Like, oh god.
Whereas in Gundam, it's like Gundam fell from the sky, or it was just created and nobody's ever piloted it, and it's the main character in every Gundam has some sort of connection or power or just luck, natural,
just straight up
well,
luck.
not necessarily luck,
20s.
but it's
like,
but it's they have no, they have like a natural ability, right? Like they can just be pilots. Like
they're always a chosen one. It's like a chosen one story.
Yes, like
it's straight up like that.
Like the pilots in Gundam Wing are kids. You know what I mean? Like they're just kids. They're just in school. You know, like
because even Domo was like what? Wait,
he was like 15, 16. I don't know.
Yeah,
or a young adult. He was on the edge of like teenager adult. But like Hiro Yui was like 15 or something like that. Yeah. But anyways,
I think Seed was the youngest one, right?
Oh,
I think it was like 14. I don't think it was the older than that. Like,
so was the original though. The original main character was.
Yeah, you're right.
He was young too. Amuro. that's one thing. That's one thing.
Has a very bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's one thing that Star Wars doesn't have. People yelling the main character's name in every single damn series.
Yep, that's a bad habit. That is a bad habit.
Domon, Amuro,
Domo.
Hiro.
Oh my god, so many times. I'm just like, oh, which is hilarious because isn't Japanese thing like saying their first name is so hard? Apparently, I've watched way too many animes where like, oh, you can say his first name, and they're like, no, I could never do that. I'm like, what's it? Which is a completely thing that doesn't happen in America. We give two shits about first names.
I mean, sure, those might be the rules if you're watching like a romance anime. Yeah, not if you're watching Gundam. They don't give a shit.
No, I just find it hilarious. That they're like, first name, we're gonna say it a million times.
Yeah, right. But I mean. And I mean, I guess like that kind of speaks to how Gundam keeps the tropes throughout these series. No matter how the series change, you're always going to have that main character, the sidekick, the the captain, the general. Like you're going to have people fill those roles. But
yeah, it's the same thing with Star Wars. Like Star Wars still have always like which is weird that they always have this kind of trope where you just like there's going to be the main character normally either a Jedi or something very, very fucking close to that. They're gonna have their Jedi master that's just like how Obi-Wan and Anakin were like, we're just gonna like always butt heads, but I believe in my apprentice. Always gonna happen like that. There's always a droid, either be fucking R2 or fucking D, like always that kind of concept. Or if they don't have a droid, they have like a other like Chewbacca kind of situation with like Han Solo and shit like that, where there's like he can't talk. It's just something like that. And well, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, and they only allow one colored person per trilogy. That's Lando Calrissian, Mace Windu, Finn. Where are the other ones? Where did they go?
I don't know what these like. I do not know what these other like what. But of course,
it just crossed my mind. I just thought it was.
No, it's true. It's true. It is 100% true. They're like, hey, we're representing. Don't like
one person.
Bro, it's one person.
I mean, actually, no. Actually, the prequel trilogy had two. Darth Maul. That guy was. He was.
No,
no,
he was not black.
I'm joking.
No. He's the only person who killed Liam Neeson, so give him props in that.
Yeah. But I think he was.
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, he was a real cut up. That's
good. But actually, the worst cut up was Emperor Grievous. I'm half fucking robot. I have 4 arms. I'm like, this is actually useless. Like having multiple arms and having lasers moving like this would be so counterproductive. You would slice yourself. Let's never. Which is funny because I always love both of the versions, like either Gundam and Star Wars. Their main weapons would never fucking work in reality. Like, you cannot make a laser sword. It would explode. It would be like a nuclear bomb. You'd be like, so that would fucking happen. But no matter what, it would just explode.
Surprisingly, though, besides that, both of these series do involve guns in some sort of form or fashion.
Oh yeah, there's always because dude, guns. As much as people are like, I would like to take away guns. I'm like, dude, they're good, and not everyone. Apparently, not everyone can use a lightsaber. Like,
I just want to see a T-shirt where it's just your face, and you're like, guns, they're good.
Not for society. It's just better than me getting hacked. As I always say, I'd rather get shot and probably die like in like a good hour or so than get cut, get tetanus, and then like, now you're gonna have a suffering, horrible life. Like, great.
let it be known that Lincoln Edwards is an intergalactic gun advocate. Laser guns only, no bullets.
I always find that hilarious, like side note, like or cartoons where people are like, oh, well, they're only using laser guns or something because they can't use bullets because that's like gun association. I'm like, yeah, but in the future, would you rather use a thing that uses bullet, like fucking gunpowder and a bullet, or a fucking light that shoots through a person? Like, there's no doubles tap on that thing. It's just bam. Oh, like that's all that's gonna happen. Whatever you shoot gets seared to fucking kingdom come. I'd rather use a light. Also has a battery. It would be so easy, but like it would be so easy.
But overall, I think between the two of these, as much, as much as I personally enjoy Gundam, and I mean. For me, it's hard. For me, it's hard to argue it against Star Wars based in a lot of different factors.
Oh, because it is the Odyssey. They journey to places. They have strife.
There's lots of strife in Gundam, that's for sure.
Well, but like good and evil.
There's a lot of good and evil too. I mean,
not like a distinct good and evil.
I mean, it depends on the series, but
true.
But Gundam does a good job of like, hey, look. There's good and evil, but sometimes the lines do blur because in a war, who's really right, who's really wrong?
The only person who's right is the victor. That's always happens.
Like, I mean, like I feel like Gundam tells more complex stories than Star Wars does, but Star Wars is maybe more accessible. It's more accessible, I guess.
No, it's true because like especially because Gundam Wing, like as much as Star Wars is like crazy with the wars, Gundam Wing kind of has wars that are like they're. I don't. I'm pretty sure there was one war that's like this has spanned for 100 years. Do you know what 100 years of like just going through that concept of just every single time I go out in space, I can die. I can like I
But
live my like kids as widows and shit like that. Like that's crazy.
yeah,
For 100 years, like god damn, they have old kind of wars because like we like in history we've had wars that long. It's just that's back in the day.
yeah, not in the future when we have Gundams fighting above us. But I mean, I think by the definition though of the tournament that we're doing, it would have to be Star Wars because Gundam, outside of like going to the moon for some series or going to Mars for like Iron Blooded Orphans, or like
they're not even really going out of their solar system. To be
yeah,
honest.
like it's
Well, like Star Wars have gone to places the outer fucking limits of reality.
yeah.
Like, okay.
Like Gundam to me is an amazing space opera, but it is not a space odyssey. It's not a trip by any means. It's meant to be grounded in reality to like make you feel like this could be the future.
This could be the
happen
distant
to
future
us.
instead of like whatever the fuck would be needed to blink through fucking time and space to find yourself on the outer reaches of any universe. Like that's ridiculous. There's a part in Star Wars where they find where the Force originated. I'm like, what? It's like in the outer reaches. There's the light and the dark. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and I mean in Star Wars, they you have Hoth and you have Tatooine and you have all these different planets that they build these different worlds out, and the galaxy, it is a galaxy far, far away. So, and it is a journey. It's more of a journey too. Like Gundam is not a journey. It's things happening, human emotions.
Yeah, it's a lot of cause and effect. It's like,
Yeah,
this happened. You have to do this. Do it.
we have to defend. We have to fight.
We have to.
There's a war.
We have to fight. There's a.
There's a war.
There's a lot of reactions, which is funny. There's a lot of reactions, and then people arguing about how could you react that way. But bro, what are we supposed to do?
but I mean, yeah, I mean, I can give it to Star Wars, although I will say that the ending to Char's counterattack I will take over any Star Wars movie any day.
Oh, okay. But yeah, Star Wars
So,
wins this round, which was very long. But so we have, which is I guess the next one's going to be even longer because God help us, we have Star Trek and that whole expansive universe of just shit. You're like, oh yeah, Star Trek. It's just Picard. No.
no.
To the story.
There's a whole hell of a lot, and we will get into
But
that.
then, Guardians of the Galaxy has a lot to its story, and it's coming into. Oh, okay. You're gonna hate on bringing all these old.
Just for the next 20 minutes, I'll hate on Guardians of the Galaxy. Not in general, but.
Guardians of the Galaxy has a very vastness of itself and traveling to way too many places. The fact that like Midgard is like, oh well, you know of it as Thor's homeland in a mythical sense, right? No, it's just one part of a galaxy. Like what? It's a planet? Like you can just visit on a Sunday or something. Like come to Asgard. And Midgard is actually Earth. I'm sorry, I fucked that up so badly. Come to Asgard. We have frozen giants on Tuesdays. The fact that that's also a place you could just visit with that fucking spaceship is ridiculous. But yeah, well, did you go first last time?
Yes.
Yes. Sir.
So now it's your turn.
So Guardians of the Galaxy, you got your ragtag team of good doers. Like it's the best way. They're vigilantes. Let's just be honest. They don't even like. They're like, hey, we're just vicariously going through reality and space and time, and doing good where we can. But at the same time, like, hey, if it's profitable for us to do something shitty, we'll kind of do it just to one up one motherfucker. And we're not even going on the original. The original comics were so tragic. Like such bad shit happened to so many people. That shit. You think like, oh, Thanos ripping Nebula apart piece by piece was bad. No, read the comic. She was frozen. Like, it was bad shit. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, ragtag team, going through space, going through different adventures, and like because Marvel is like a lot of the heroes in Marvel, even though they do have intergalactic baddies, they're still grounded a lot more in Earth. Like Iron Man, most of it's going to be on Earth. Like, yes, he has people travel from time and space, but they still meet him in New York. Like, they don't go to other places, which is weird. Like, I would think if I know my rivals in fucking New York, I'm going to Canada. Like, maybe it'll take a while to get to me. Like,
yeah.
Like, but Guardians of the Galaxy has the vastness of space where they have gone through too many like there was a whole thing with the symbiotes where people like realized like symbiotes are way more than just venom and carnage that came from this thing came from space. It hit Spider-Man. It became a suit. Whip-de-doo. It's like, oh no, there's a fucking planet of those shits, and then like you have to deal with it on a daily basis. Like, oh shit. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, and then of course the Skrull and the Creed, which I always find it hilarious that the Skrull is supposed to be like, well, a lot of people are like, they're the villains, and then you're like, Creed kind of this like as bad, like just think themselves as righteous. Like you're just like, who do we root for in this little competition? But yeah, like Guardians of the Galaxy go through a lot of things in time, and just they if I could think of it in a like, you remember when they made Treasure Planet, but they made it like the space version, like not Treasure. They made Treasure Island to Treasure Planet. That's what I'm kind of like. Guardians of the Galaxy, they just venture on their own and just find things to do because there's always corruption in every single galaxy. There's always things that would happen and people you're going to meet, like the Collector or the Sportsmaster or fucking what the hell is that dog's name again? The one with shit. So the astronaut dog, and I can't remember it, that can actually speak or whatever because of psychic brainwave or some bullshit.
I don't remember.
There's also Howard the Duck, if anyone remembers that shit. That's an oldie like fucking concept. But yeah, no, they go through a lot of things that other characters won't.
I mean, they do venture, but Star Trek is like the OG space odyssey voyage, traveling well beyond our galaxy. Klingons, Cardassians, Vulcans, like you name it. There's so many. But it's not just the species though. It's the things that they encounter. A lot of weird stuff happens in Star Trek.
I don't know what you're talking about. All I see is Picard having sex with like female three boobed green ladies. That never happened. But
it would be funny. It'd be funny if it did. I wouldn't be surprised because Picard is he's quite the seductress. I don't even know what you would call that.
Seductor.
A seductor would be a woman.
Fucking female.
Well, Picard is so good at seduction. He can seduct you as a female.
I'm surprised it wasn't an episode when they did that. I'm actually surprised by that. I guess they were just like, gender changes? Nah, we can't go that far. Back in like the 70s or 60s.
There was an episode where the entire episode they went back in time into the 20s. So anything's possible. But
oh yeah, they did have time travel in Star Trek.
Yes. Well,
which is how is that even possible? I don't fucking understand.
Well, one of the weird things that and this was in Star Trek Next Generation specifically, not the other ones, but they encounter a guy named Q, and Q is like this omnipresent being. I think he's supposed to be representative almost of like God because he's always there, he's always watching you, and throughout the entire series of the Next Generation, he pops up every now and then. And when he pops up, it's never something good, and it's usually because he caused it, and he's trying to fuck with him. Yeah.
I made a mess.
Yeah. He's even in the final two episodes, and he's like the cause of everything that's going all weird. And the final two episodes are split between three different times, and Picard is like flashing through these time frames back and forth and not realizing, like, it's like he has to try and figure out why this is happening. Like, why is he waking up in the future, and then all of a sudden he walks through a door and he's on the bridge of the Enterprise like 20 years prior, and he's like, what the hell? And like people who were dead are alive, and he's like, what's going on? And like it just keeps happening to him. I mean, he's aware of it, so he's like, okay, what the fuck? What's going on? And he's trying to tell the people in these timelines, and they don't believe him because they're like, you sound crazy, Captain. Why are you saying that you just woke up in the future and blah, blah, blah. But either way, that's a kind of a taste of some of the weird stuff that happens. But they have a mixture of, like, yes, they have space battles, but they also have exploration and dealing with...
Beam me up.
Yeah, beam me
Can't
up.
Forget the beam ups.
Yeah. The Borg is another thing, which the Borg plays into the new show, the Picard show. They come back. I think they're also in Voyager. They're in some other ones. The Borg is an interesting concept. It's like they want to, turn you into a cyborg. They want to make you a part of their collective.
They're Battlestar Galactica.
Kind of. kind of, yeah. Similar, yeah. But yeah, so there's a lot of elements to Star Trek that are, adventurous, filled with action, filled with time, light time travel, very light time travel. But it happens.
But it's still there. They still there. Venture.
It happens
on that kind of concept. And it's not even only just new generations. There's like what? How many versions of Star Trek? Like 5 or 6?
There's the original. There's Next Generation. There's Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, Discovery, and Picard are like the main shows.
Yeah.
And then there's like a lot of the spin-offs for Star Trek are the books. So there's like a ton of freaking like alternate timelines and like what happens after Picard's the captain and what happens this and
I always
that.
hate that they always expand on things through books. They're like, now I gotta read.
Yeah, right. I mean, Star Wars is guilty of that too. Star Wars has a ton of
yeah, that's exactly what I'm stating. Like,
yeah.
So many times they're like, oh yeah, so you thought Darth Vader was badass in the movies. Now let me get you to a comic where he lifted up an ocean. What? Why is that in the comic?
Right. But I mean, I guess in relation to Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like, yeah, it's like a space odyssey, but it's kind of, I don't know.
Venture, like,
does it have a focus? Is there a purpose? That's my thing. Like, what's the?
They do have they're the Guardians of the Galaxy. They kind of keep everything and save that universe. But Star Trek is in a whole way of like, which Star Trek is kind of almost guilty of the Star Wars thing. Like, oh, we're only here to travel. We're tourists. That's what Star Trek is supposed to be.
We're here to explore. Tourists. Yeah.
We're here to explore.
Yeah.
And the bullshit amount of things they've done to like traverse and like just like transcribe their own legend into the reality of that universe is way past we explore.
Well,
hell, they fucking have a main villain just like that. I will always remember. God!
Exactly. Or I mean, even in like in a series like Voyager, where the concept of the show isn't so much to explore, but like Voyager gets lost in like a section of the universe, and they have to find their way back home. So
yeah, there's a lot of getting lost.
Yeah,
there's a lot. Well, makes sense when you're beaming just. That's all you have. You're like, oh, did we fuck up one calculation? We're in a whole different fucking galaxy.
Well, also like wormholes too. That's a big thing in Star Trek. Is the idea of wormholes and traveling through from one end to the other, and there's a lot of like real concepts that they use that Guardians of the Galaxy I don't think necessarily cares about nor has to use. But
they've done it where they pass through worm. That's the only way. Apparently, wormholes is like the bee's knees of the only way you travel through space quickly. But it's not as bad as like Star Trek or Star Wars, where it's literally the concept of them just always going through light speed. Like Star Trek and Star Wars made light speed travel a household name in the sci-fi universe, to be honest. Or at least from what I remember. Like, they just do it all the fucking time. Like, so, yeah, no, 100% Star Trek is going to win this one. I just had Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't luck out on this one. It's because it's fucking Star Trek. Like, I can't.
It's literally in the name.
The odyssey of Star Trek.
It's a trek through space.
Through space and not time.
Oh, man.
Only a little bit of time. But yeah, so Star Wars wins that cake.
Star Trek.
I'm sorry, Star Trek wins it. I'm just
you're just trying to.
I'm saying the future.
Oh, really?
If you say it can happen. Like, if you bring it into this world,
I think I can.
Which is funny because we have Star Wars, Star Trek, and now that we have like on the third. Wait, it's quarterfinals. On the third one, it's Starfox versus Doctor Who.
Yes.
So it's your turn to remember a franchise that's predominantly been dead since the 90s. No.
No, I was just joking around. But Star Fox, how dare you? How dare you say that about Star Fox? It's a great series. Like, it has never died. It's never, ever died, except for that one period of time between 1996 and 2021. But
Nintendo does not do well by their properties. Let's just say that. If it's not fucking Mario or Zelda, it doesn't exist in Nintendo.
Look, I'll admit that Star Fox, they just did not put out a ton of great games after, like, a certain point. Or they just didn't put out a lot of games. Like, quantity. Not even just quality. Just not quantity.
Quality. Because most of their games are remakes of the one you had 10 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, if you love Nintendo 64, we sure as hell we're going to give you that 10 times. But looking at the game, looking at the story, I guess is the best way to do it. The story of, you're traveling to different planets, you're trying to go after, what's his name? Metal Fox.
Monkey Man with the hands.
Monkey Man with hands.
Is it Andromeda or some shit like that?
Oh, Andros. Andros,
yes. And then you have the mercenary group that is Star Wolf.
Yes, Star Wolf.
Oh, it's so clever.
Yeah, right. I mean, the concept of it where, you're going to different planets, fighting off different forces, there's an adventure to it, and you are traveling through space.
And only one male, one female character.
Well, I mean, if this was Tournament Space Jam for the ladies, then yes, Star Fox might not win. But then again, Doctor Who, was there like one female doctor? There's one female.
Every time he has a companion, they're a female.
But
they're badass.
But so females in Doctor Who are only worthy of being companions.
As partners, as like equal trade, fuck you.
The doctor's always a
okay. There was only one female doctor. That's not the fault of those people. I don't know why they never thought the doctor was like, oh no, you can't be a female. Wasn't the doctor a female once before? How do you know our lore? But yeah, continue with Starfox. Sorry.
But even in that regard, like, just comparing the two, I don't picture Doctor Who as traveling through space as much as he travels through time.
See, now that's a misconception. As in, Doctor Who does travel through time. He does go through different empirical times in Earth. But for some fuck reason, this is a spaceship also, as it travels through different planets.
It's a phone booth.
It's a spaceship. It's bigger on the inside. It's bigger on the inside. They travel through different. They travel to different planets, to different galaxies.
To Earth every time it's Earth. No, I'm joking.
No, it's not. Different planets, different satellites.
The moon is not a planet.
Okay, satellites and everything like that. The Doctor Who has traveled way past what is needed of a like this guy again, another one of these things where you're like, okay, it's just a person trying to fix problems in the timeline or something of that nature, and then of course stop the Daleks, the Cybermen, and all these other villains that are just like, we want to destroy something, we want to conquer this, we want to do this. And even then also sometimes where aliens are not supposed to be, where they're kind of just working off instincts or working off human things, like, you don't need to be here, you need to leave. Like, this is a guy who's like a guardian of Earth, guardian of the universe kind of aspect to him. And of course, like I said, he has his companions with him where they go through time and space, and they have to constantly learn that you can't fuck with the timeline. Like, it's like, don't do this. But he has to go through many different struggles. Also, the fact that every single time he changes to a different doctor, yes, he keeps some of what he was or whatever, but he's still a whole new fucking entity that has to go through different struggles. And like, even different doctors do different things. Like, hell, even the 10th Doctor was like, at the end, there's one that did genocide of a whole fucking species. Like, sometimes when you're doing good, you're actually not doing that good. Like, it's like when you're doing for the greater good, shit can go awry real quick. And like that's the whole thing. Is Doctor Who, I would say 100% has gone to way more fucking planets than Starfox and his team of experters have gone to.
Well, first of all, you shut your whore mouth. No, I'm just...
Well, this is 2021. You cannot use the word whore or mouth. It is orifice.
You shut your dirty orifice. No, but Starfox, he goes to quite a few planets. In fact, there's at least 12. At least 12, okay? 12 is a big number, all right? How many planets has Doctor Who gone to? Probably like 5, but he's gone like 20 times in different dimensions.
Whoa, not 5, like more than like
Earth,
37.
Earth,
like...
the moon, Dalek. And then like a 4th planet where like it's like pyramids and shit.
I think there is a planet that's just pyramids. But yeah, no, like Doctor Who has ventured through time. Like, you have an entity that literally is immortal. Like the amount of ventures this guy has gone through compared to Starfox.
It's not fair. Starfox can die one day. Starfox can die in battle. Doctor Who can't die in battle because he'll just reappear as...
He can, technically, if you shoot both of his hearts, which I don't know how you have 2 hearts, but you could just die. There's been many times... There was a whole debacle where he was apparently the 13th Doctor, which was... oh, shit, I can't remember his fucking name. I can't remember the actor's name.
David Tennant?
No, David Tennant was the...
8th? 9th?
11th? No! Oh, God, no.
Oh, no.
The new generation of Doctor Who starts at the 9th. And then you... Where you have... I only see their faces. I cannot remember their fucking names.
The guy with the guy with like the long...
Guy.
He's like the longish kind of hair, kind of like this. Like it comes down to like...
Yeah, with the... Well,
like
the 9th one actually was bald. 9th was bald. 10th one was... I think... Yeah, 10th one was David Tennant. Then the 11th one was Matt Smith.
Yes, that's what I was talking about. With
Mr. I wear a fucking hat little thing.
And then there was the old guy.
The bow ties are cool.
Like the
old guy.
The old guy with the white hair, and then there was the woman. Is the next one, and then there's a new one, right?
No, there's still the woman right now because her series is not doing so well.
Oh no! Oh no!
Well, again, this is the thing. Problem of like Doctor Who with time is, hey, kind of sucked for females for most of it, and especially sucked for anybody you're traveling with, like the black guy that you're traveling with.
should have been in the Star Wars universe. At least they do decent for them.
Well, yeah. Well, because I think like her ragtime her group is like the black guy. I remember even in the other version, she had a friend who was like not only black but like I want to say bi. No, I think she was just straight up lesbian. So that was that's like, oh, so you're gonna just hit both marks of that we were very inconsiderate back in the day, like, and kind of still are right now. But not as bad. Like, you were lynched for shit like that. Like, oh, your color of the skin is different. Hoist them up, boys. Hoist them. But yeah, stereotypes aside, Doctor Who ventured through a lot of time and space, a lot of craziness and learning him of himself and strifes and struggles. And he's a guy who doesn't use weaponry. All he uses the little screwdriver.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the kicker. Doctor Who has never been in Smash, okay? Starfox has been in Smash, and therefore Starfox wins.
Okay, you know you lost. Yeah, just stay.
Falco.
All his moves in Starfox are made up. He doesn't actually get out of the fucking spaceship.
Well,
but yes, Doctor Who wins on the Space Odyssey.
Sure.
But
I'll let it pass.
Here's an interesting one. We have Dead Space. All right, for the fourth quarterfinal. Dead Space versus Metroid.
Dead Space.
Dude, that would have took away the horror aspect ever. It was like, no one can hear you scream, like all that shit, and then it's like, space.
Like if that was like the start screen. Space. Like, oh, I'm in for fun with this game.
Which I agree with everybody on Dead Space. Like the first one is always the scariest compared to all the other ones because the other ones had too much light in them and not enough quiet. Like the fact that you were just a silent man just going. That's literally Dead Space. The whole fucking series is just, oh my god, no. But so wait. Is it my turn to start or your turn?
I believe it's your turn. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So Metroid, in a galaxy far away. I'm joking. So we have a Federation. I'm trying to just make it like we have a Federation warrior turned bounty hunter that has to go through galactic space to fight off Metroid for most of it, which is hilarious because she finds out later on that the Metroids were not a bad thing, supposedly. But yeah, going through the thing, fighting Metroids, fighting space pirates, Ridley, the guy who like destroyed. It's like I don't know why she hates Ridley so much. Well, I don't know. Ridley destroyed her fucking home colony and caused her to become a freak because the Childs were like, huh, she has to live on this planet, right? Bird DNA. Just put that shit in here. And it's like, oh yeah. Dude, Metroid is the only character, not Metroid. Samus Aran is the only character that's almost as fucking ginger as Ichigo from Bleach. Like, this girl is a Chow's. She's part human. She gets the Metroid DNA synthesized into her. She has now the X parasite in. I'm like, bro, how many shit do you need to put in one person? How is she not corrupted? Yes, they had a whole thing. Oh, I forgot the Phazon bullshit parts. That was fucking fun. Hell, in Metroid Prime, she traveled to so many fucking planets. Like, it was, okay, it's a fun experience, but God help you when you're like, okay, I have to go from this planet to this planet. Cool. And then you had to backtrack. That was backtracking between planets. Woo! I was like, I gotta go back here through a spaceship? Like, it was so crazy.
I'll just preface this by saying I think Dead Space was the final pick. So it wasn't something that I wanted to defend because, to be honest, I don't think it's a space odyssey. To me, Dead Space is more like the movie Alien, where you're in a
you're just in a bad situation.
You're in a bad situation in space, but you're in a set area or a set few areas. You're not traveling necessarily to planets. You're traveling to these, ships, broken down, haunted places. So to me, it's hard to make the argument that it's an odyssey, especially against Metroid. Like you were just saying, like you backtrack to other planets because you got to find out all this shit.
I just love how you said haunted spaceships. I'm like, that's a lot more than just haunted. It's
Well,
like,
yeah.
oh look, it's a poltergeist. That is a full-on demon alien. I don't know what is this? What was this religion that was like, we celebrate the helix? I'm like, you mean that dark-looking fucking DNA strand, black, reddish fucking thing that just oozes danger, danger.
I mean, on second thought, we should have put like Halo or something because
I tried to tell you.
no, I do not remember you telling me Halo. Did we not put Halo? Because that
I think
I don't remember putting it. I don't remember Halo getting brought up, but it's definitely more
I
of a
think we
space
said
odyssey.
that because of Halo was mostly in Halo. It was in that fucking ring, and there might have been sometimes they went to planets. It would have been a weak argument.
Yeah, right. Hell, Starlink is more of a space odyssey, and that has Starfox in it though, so that would be the same game. But it's yeah,
Well, yeah, what he did? Okay, in Dead Space 3, he does travel to one planet.
yeah. But it's not an odyssey. You know what I mean? It's like we're in this area.
We're
So
just in this area, shit, gone to shit. Like it's a good horror like genre that adds in sci-fi because even though there's kind of BS thing because I love how Isaac's just an engineer, but it's like, oh no, he made a gun that shoots lasers and keeps. I'm like, what are they teaching in engineering school that you're just like, oh, space gun? I made a nuke. Like, what the fuck
yeah,
just happened?
I mean that's the thing is like, I mean I don't have to argue that Dead Space is a good or bad game. Like yeah, like it's a good game. But in terms of a space odyssey, yeah, it's not nowhere close to Metroid in any sort of way. In fact, in terms of which game is better, I don't think it wins that either. I think the Metroid franchise is better than Dead Space franchise. I could just say that right now.
I will always say the reason why Metroid is a good franchise is that it made you're a good franchise when you become a term that is used for other games where you're like
Yeah,
because
it invented a style.
Metroidvania is a thing. Like people say this about certain games that come out like, oh, it's like Metroidvania. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
This is a gaming term. That's crazy. You know you're good when you're like used as a term. That's how Google is just like, I'm the best web browser ever. Like people say Google it. No one says ask Jeev it. Nigga, no.
well, even I mean, geez, like I still remember playing the very first Metroid for the first time. I think I played it on the Wii, like when the Wii Virtual Console first started.
Oh yeah,
and I was like, oh, the idea of playing classic games was so. It was I could just download this for like $5. Cool. But I bought the first Metroid, played it, and I realized why. I was like, oh, this game is really good. I mean, it's like it's from the NES and it's classic as fuck, but it's amazing. It's but you do have to backtrack in that game too, which is bitch and a half.
All the Metroids are backtracking.
Yeah.
All the Metroids are like, you have powers. They're taken away from you.
Yeah,
Get them back.
find them.
Which is one thing I always give like Metroid always gives you like even though it's not an RPG by any fucking means, it gives you that RPG-esque feeling like because with RPGs at the end of the game you feel like a fucking god for most of the game until you like fight the villain, and that's if you haven't been over leveled. If you're over fucking leveled, boss means nothing to you. You just wasted time. You're like level 200. This boss is like level 67. Like I will kill. Oh.
So,
come on, I have a whole cutscene and everything. Nah, you die now.
so
but yeah, Metroid wins.
All in all, Metroid wins in a landslide in that one. But now we're down to the semifinals. And these two semifinals
I kind of want to skip the first one and go to Doctor Who versus
okay.
Metroid.
No, let's do that first. Doctor Who Metroid. It's weird because these are two things that you enjoy and love very much. So this argument would be
they're very near and dear to my heart. But
yeah.
The instances is Doctor Who has ventured way a lot of planets and different
and through time
zones.
like Metroid has never
time.
Yeah, Metroid has never gone through time that we're aware of, right?
No, it has not. But at the same time, Metroid has ventured like. I think the thing is because Metroid the Odyssey part is Samus is by herself. We keep forgetting this. Like Doctor Who at least has companions and people he's with, and like compadres of certain things. Like he has his allies, his thing. Samus is normally alone, even when she has like bounty hunter friends. They either get corrupted or she has to kill them. So she's normally doing this in a spaceship on a fucking. She gets to feel what it is to be in the cold, dark, and distant space way more than any other character that we have in this roster.
So are you saying that having to go through an Odyssey alone matters more than if you have, if you have companionship, you have partners or friends or...
Well, because you have more of, I shouldn't say you have more of a reason or purpose, because Metroid literally only goes to these planets because, like, the last Metroid is in captivity. The last Metroid is not in captivity. Fuck! Like, it's legit taken from the game.
It's like a whoopsie daisy. The game.
That is a lot of Metroid lore right there. You have just kicked it out. If I had to explain Metroid to someone, it's like, it's oopsie daisy, the whole fucking franchise. Because they killed off these Metroids and were like, oh, Metroids are the scum of the universe. And it's like, no, X-Parasites are worse.
They're like, fuck.
Or my favorite, how the Chows became extinct. They were too fucking intelligent and just said, I don't need to procreate. Your whole purpose of existing is to actually reproduce. It's a living. You're not living that much. But yeah, I think because Metroid travels by her, but damn, Doctor Who does travel a lot more though.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, okay.
Sorry. What are you gonna say?
With the Doctor Who lore, are his companions like? Is it like a Destiny type thing where he's
no?
So it's
like happenstance that he gets the companions that he gets.
So that kind of changes it up for me, because if he's always destined to have a partner, then that's different. But if he
needs to have a partner, that's the whole thing. It's like it's not like Destiny or certain things. Like if it was like a whole thing, like every single one of them is like, no, you've been by yourself for too long, Doctor. You need companions. You need to have, because he's human, which makes fucking sense. Like I do love that they do that in the shows where like, no, humans need people. You just do. So like that's why Doctor Who sometimes he is destined, because like you have the bad wolf aspect, which happened with the 10th Doctor with David Tennant and him. No, actually it started off with the 9th Doctor and then became the 10th Doctor. So yeah, so the bad wolf thing, you do have those legendary, you have the Dr. Donna, you do have those legendary ones, but they're still not destiny based. It's just the story kind of surrounds around the companion because good writing. But yeah, so it's never really Destin's thing. It's just kind of happenstance of him journeying through a place and having good morality of just like wanting to do the good. And that's how he does it. But like Metroid, on the other hand, it's the whole thing of like her invention. And I think the one thing that takes away from Doctor Who being a space odyssey itself is that Doctor Who goes through different lifetimes. His space odyssey is different from like every Doctor has a different odyssey itself. Like it's separated. While Metroid is like, it's Samus. It's always Samus. Every fucking time she travels, it's her traveling. She doesn't even get passenger. No one fucking takes her to places. Like it's never like she just gets beamed up into another spaceship. Like, we're going as an entourage. Like, no, it's my spaceship. Which is her fucking face. Like, how egocentric do you have to be? It's just a helmet. That's all her spaceship is. But I think I give it to Metroid for a Space Odyssey. More also the fact that she's actually going through space and not time, as much as Doctor Who goes through time and space.
Yeah.
So I'll give it to them. I'll give it to Metroid.
Yeah, and also the point that I would make is that, and maybe I should have made this point earlier, but Doctor Who, yeah, he travels through space and time, but the traveling is less a part of it. It's more of like, it's just a means to where he gets to. Whereas in...
It's point A to point B.
Yeah.
Whilst Star Wars and Star Trek is like, we have here.
Yeah, like it's encapsulated, like it's the space travel is more a part of it. Like in Doctor Who, it's like, well, we don't really care to show you that. It's just like we're just gonna show you him getting there, and you know how he got there, but it's just like he's there now. So to me, it's like okay, it's less of a visually, it's less of a space odyssey to me because
Also,
he's
no
just
space battles in Doctor Who.
oh yeah, yeah, and at least in Metroid,
fucking things.
yeah, in Metroid there's battles and shit. Sometimes in
they should make a Metroid game that you actually have a full-on space battle. That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
They should do that. What? But Nintendo fucking doesn't care about franchise.
Oh, that's
the rage.
You know what? That's a tournament for another time where we can just do 8 franchises that Sony neglects because there probably is 8.
Sony, Nintendo, all these neglected franchises.
Nintendo,
which was the best? You said Sony. I'm like,
my brain.
You're just like, I hate Sony. Fuck you. Why? Why did you give away fucking Bayonetta? And he's like, oh, give it to Nintendo. They'll treat her right. No.
There you go. Nintendo series. So we got Metroid, we got Bayonetta, we got Starfox is on there too.
Ice Climbers, we made one. No, my favorite, Kid Icarus. We made a game for the 3DS. Okay, you're gonna make other ones? No. You're gonna bring it to the Switch? No.
But now Metroid wins, and we go on to the big 2, Star Wars, Star Trek. The Battle of the Stars.
This is where you get your what's those horns that they do in soccer a lot where it's like the blow, it's not a blowhorn, but it's like you hear the like that, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like because we got Star Wars versus Star Trek. Again, many different series in Star Trek, many different series in Star Wars. Central ideal, yes, in Star Wars, but they still have like, we can take it from this side. We can take it from this side. We can take it from this side. We can make fucking prequel movies that don't need to be made. Rogue One. I didn't even know how they got the fucking. I mean, a sci-fi. I don't need everything explained to me. Like, how do you shit in space? I don't give a fuck.
See, that's the one thing about Star Wars though that I feel is like. Is a slight negative for me is the fact that it's so
milk it.
Yes, that it's so tied to the core story that it's like, oh well, we know about Vader and Luke and blah blah blah, but so we got to keep referencing the things you already know. Whereas Star Trek, it's like, okay, the species, it's a weird word. The species, the aliens, things like that, those carry over. Like Klingons exist in the original series, they exist in Next Generation, they exist in the future shows. But the actual like plots and things that happen, like they don't have to be connected, but they're all in a timeline. Sort of like I feel like Star Wars, the timeline doesn't progress as much as Star Trek does. Star Trek goes through in like an entire captain after captain after captain after captain after captain. I mean, I could be wrong there.
They do have like, so like Star Wars does have its
own timeline
brand of like timeline because like you have like the first 3 trilogy in the chronological order, not when they were fucking released. I don't know how they got away with that shit. Like, here's the ending.
You know what? I take back what I said because the more I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, Star Wars, yes, they're kind of centered around the story. Anakin becomes Vader, Luke's father, blah, 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 the future. And Star Trek, I mean, I guess what I was trying to say is that it doesn't, like, keep going back to this one singular thing. Like, it's like every captain has its own journey and has its own thing. And Star Wars is like, well, this all happened. So we're going to keep focusing on what this did and what this is going to... what the echoes of this happens.
I think that might be a good thing. Like with Star Wars is like there's always cause and effect. Everything that is done will come back to bite you if you don't like. So that's like the heaviness and the weight to these decisions. Is like, okay, I'm going to do this. Oh, this is done this and this and this and this and this and like not going with the right things. And that was a lot shown out through Yoda because keep forgetting. This small fucking green thing that's a puppet. Yoda's puppet. If no one fucking knew. But like made all these decisions of like the clones, the wars, and all this other stuff. It was used against them. And I had to there's so much weight to everything that is done. The way they fucking handled Anakin. Yeah, from a person watching the movies and seeing from the outside, they were like, this is stupid. Why would you take him away from his mother? People need their fucking moms. Duh. Or parents at least. And then like, why would you just go like, oh yeah, bring him to these things and not give him hugs and shit like that? It's like, oh yeah, Leia, you can't marry her. Like, but he's gonna love people, whatever. And like, do all these decisions. Do the decisions what they did to Asako Tano, where they were like, we released her from the fucking Jedi Order. I'm like, why would you fucking do that? She did nothing wrong. You fucking suspected her of something, and instead of like, we believe you, you're like, well, the evidence is against you. I'm like, what? You know her.
But I guess if I was going to make one argument for Star Trek against Star Wars, it would be that Star Wars is not necessarily about the journey itself. Star Trek is about the journey. Star Wars is about achieving whatever the goal is, whether the goal is to destroy the Death Star, whether the goal is to find Luke Skywalker, whether the goal is to do this. They're traveling through space, yes, but the journey is not necessarily the part that matters. It's what they're going to do once they get there, what they're trying to do, what the mission is. Star Trek, it's like they have a mission, but you do go on a journey the entire way. Like, it's the whole thing is a journey. The whole thing is an odyssey.
True.
Star Wars is not all an odyssey. It's like it's a war, and then they're traveling, and then they're going here, and then they're talking to this guy.
The only argument I would give on that is Star Wars has the more development of characters than Star Trek. Star Trek, yes, they do venture through a lot of things, but do the characters really overall change as drastically and as in-depthful, that's not a word, as depthful as the characters in Star Wars? You have a character that started off as, okay, which one? I want to hear which character changes significantly aside from Picard.
Okay. Yeah, Picard does a little bit.
Because he goes from like being a reckless person for being slightly cautious. He's still bold, but he's still like, oh, I pretty much house a whole ship of people, which, the first generation.
Every Enterprise is a ship full of people.
but like, I think the weirdest thing is like with the first Star Trek, because of the fact that it always centered in that hub, like right in the captain thing, you never really think, oh, there's a fucking ship of people. Like, you're always like, these are the people we care about. Everyone else can fucking die. I don't care. But like, I think in like New Generations, where they kept showing everybody in the ship, where you're like, oh, there's at least 3,000 people just here.
yeah. I mean, they have a large crew walking around. They have quarters for everyone to sleep, and it's basically like a flying hotel. That could be your point right there. But yeah,
hotel
like,
thing.
But yeah, no. There, if you dig deep into Star Trek, there is character development for many characters throughout different series for many reasons. Like think about like even Spock. Like Spock's whole deal is that he's an emotionless.
You gotta use Spock on me. Okay.
He's a logical, emotionless type of guy, and he's sort of
very highly illogical.
Yeah, he slowly. It's like his goal. Like it's like he's slowly becoming more human as time goes on. And same thing with like Data. Like Data is supposed to be like Spock. Like he's like an android, completely logical, but he kind of changes over time too, where he stops being less of an analytical robot type and more of he's trying to be as human as he can. So yeah, characters do change. But I will say this, and this goes back full circle to the final episode of Next Generation when I was explaining Q and things like that. They travel. If you want an Odyssey, Q takes Picard and brings him to the primordial ooze, to the birth of humanity. Star Wars don't do that.
That's in time, though.
Yeah, but that's traveling. That's like.
Oh, okay. Well, then Doctor Who should be still. I'm just kidding. But like.
Well, true.
But Star Wars, again, like I said, they go through where the Force begins on that thing.
But the Force isn't real. Like, The primordial ooze is real, and Picard saw it happen.
I have seen
saw evolution happen.
What is the thing called? It's something like M. I can't remember. It's like, oh shit.
Wait, what?
The fucking gene that's used to actually harness the Force, and they say, "Oh, you have a high level."
I have no idea.
Or whatever shit is called. Some stupid. It's reading the books and stuff like that. But yeah, like, I don't know, because like Star Trek does see a lot of like different races, and they go through different things, and there's different space, like there's different planets. Star Wars again also goes through different planets, different things. Shit. This is why I left this at the end. Because we have drastic changes, people altering their point of view, I guess. Lost ends. Damn, this is good. And they even both of them have space. Both of them have epic ass fucking space battles too. The only thing I can say, like, Star Trek goes in the ship more than Star Wars.
Yeah,
Star Wars is more like they go to a planet, they do stuff, and then go back on a ship.
Yeah, which is kind of like the argument I was trying to make was like, in Star Trek, it feels like it's more about that journey, more about being in the ship, traveling. Whereas Star Wars, it's not really about the traveling and the journey. It's like, yes, the Millennium Falcon's there, and Han Solo and Luke fly to, whatever. But that's like a tiny piece of the whole puzzle. Like, the rest of it is like an epic story being told with the events happening on the planet. Star Trek, the events don't really happen on the planets all that often. They mostly happen on the ship. Because they're traveling.
Couldn't that be a hindrance for Star Trek? Is that more? It's like more bottlenose, as in the ship itself, and it's like, yeah, we journey, but fuck the planets. It's all inside, kind of.
Because in some of those instances, they meet these species out in space. They don't meet them at their own planets. They meet them on their ships in different parts of. You know what I'm saying? Like in the Borg, I mean, geez, the Borg ship is like a planet in itself. So it's a cube. It's a Borg cube. But yeah, cube. But I'm just going by the idea of a journey, the idea of an odyssey. And I mean, Star Wars, is it an odyssey for Luke? Is it an odyssey for? I mean, I guess he's traveling.
He leaves his fucking dirt hole planet.
Yeah, I guess it is. I guess it is.
Tatooine.
It's an odyssey for him, but
I don't know, man.
It's tricky.
The only thing I can think about it is like Star Trek is, again, it's in the fucking name of Star Trek, but at the same time, Star Wars, it's Star Wars is like this honed in battle. Oh god, and they do have their stripes and their struggle with all these characters and people dying. Way too many. Fuck it. Wasn't one of the fucking Odysseys like destroyed in a goddamn black hole? Like, yeah, that half of the ship is just gone from existence now. Oops. like they've gone through their crazy ass shit. I guess why I give it to Star Trek is for one reason and one reason only, because Star Trek legit says in every single show, let's boldly go further than we've ever gone before.
Where no man's gone ever.
no man's gone before. So that, just because that is literally their central theme, like, yes, things happen. If you meet people, shit's going to happen unless you're like in your headsets or whatever. Like, and even then, something probably going to come out of nowhere and be like, "Here's life."
Like,
so,
like, because I feel like with an Odyssey, it's a journey that can go on, and things happen and things
just like
that.
The Odyssey.
Exactly. Whereas
there's missions and everything, but
go
to islands and shit like that.
Yeah. Whereas Star Wars, it's like there's an end goal, and the characters know the end goal, and they're just trying to get there, and they're traveling to get there, But once they reach the end goal, that's it. That's it. It's over.
It's more about the destination and less about the journey.
And Star Trek is about the journey and not the destination. So,
yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom. Star Trek, realest one in the room. That rhymed. So.
Oh, okay. So Star Trek wins this semi-final bout. Now, Star Trek versus Metroid. So, only thing I have again
the
is
finale.
Metroid. Samus Aran does it by herself in the spaceship. She goes to different planets, pretty much annihilates most of them. She's not really there to like take in the flora. Like I think the only people she's technically not people, I should say. The only thing she's ever saved from a planet was the baby Metroid, which saved her afterward, and the animals, which kind of could be the X-Parasites. like it wasn't really a good idea. But that's pretty much it. Like what she does, like Star Trek, they do take in the fucking forestry and stuff like that. A lot of the planets they go to, because go figure, space is dangerous. Like a lot of places they go to, like, oh, this is nice. This is nice. And then you just hear somebody in the background, what? There's so many fucking episodes, like exactly textbook of that. Just somebody running saying run, and then people are just like, beam us!
But with Star Trek, it's crazy because in Metroid, it's like, okay, we're fighting against this thing that just keeps showing up, kind of thing. Like this Metroid. We got this entity.
This Metroid, space pirates, the Federation keeps going, oh, well, I know Ridley's a bad guy and everything, but what about if you made it robotic? What about if we did it? That's the thing we could do. Just not. Why the fuck did you make Mother Brain back? Twice they did this shit.
But
maybe you can control her when she's human. Why would you think?
But I mean, with Star Trek, it's like, well, they deal with, that kind of stuff, but also every other situation in the book you can think of in space.
Well, there's lighthearted episodes in Star Trek. There's just like they go to a planet, shit goes right, and they leave, right? Like there's still filler episodes and stuff like that.
I wouldn't call them fillers. I would just call them like they're just different. Like I brought up the time travel thing. Like you might consider that like a filler because it's out of the norm, but there's still a purpose to what happened.
No, what I mean by that is like they visit planets and just have a good time, and then that's the end of the episode, and they go to something else, right? There's always something wrong in every episode?
There's not always something wrong in every episode, but there's always something happening in every episode.
Well, okay,
like something
where they go more into the drama aspect than less of like, we're gonna have a fight.
Yeah, like it's not like they don't have like episodes where it's like everything's all happy honky dory, but they do have episodes where like maybe it's more about the interpersonal relationships between the people and not this planet.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
So I guess in that aspect it would be more like, because that's the thing about, as we are taking from this, yes, Space Odyssey predominantly goes with space, but Odyssey, like the fucking book, which perhaps if you ever read the whole fucking Odyssey, it's too fucking huge. Too goddamn huge. Now the spark notes of it, they got a goddamn golden sheep. Good for them. The fleece or whatever. It's a hell of a story. But the interpersonal parts where they're just on the ship and they're like, hey, we're men being men, those are needed. So I give it to Star Trek for the Space Odyssey. It's Star Trek. Like I tried with my Star Wars. Like it's a good comparison, but it's Star Trek. I hate you. It's good. I'm surprised actually Metroid made it this far. Like, to be honest, but Metroid is
because it went up against Dead Space, which I thought was just that's our bad because it's just I don't know why we put it in there. I don't know.
I think it was because we literally said space.
It is in space. Yeah, sure. It is in space. Yeah. And then it went up against what did it go up against?
It went against Doctor Who, which was a good thing. But I think though, like I said, the Metroid win just because it's her. Like I think it's more interpersonal. But when you have Star Trek, where it's like you have your interpersonal things with your friends and family. You got to go on these journeys. They kind of never really just have a destination. They just kind of go fly us there, like because Star Wars at least always has like a place where they're fucking going. That's why you always see which I always love, and they have the fucking planet map on that shit where there's like this is this time. I'm like, thank you, because dude, there's too many sci-fis where they just open up on a planet and tell you nothing. You're like, I don't know where this is.
Yeah, it's like where the fuck? What is it? It's a desert. Why are we in a desert? Where's this desert? Is this Arizona?
It's even worse when the desert has like when it has actual landmarks for Earth and it's like this is a whole different planet. I'm like, so you're saying a different alien planet made the pyramids? What? Why would that be a thing? Hell, they technically did that shit in like fucking Alien Prometheus, where I was like, okay, what planet is this at? Like, what's happening? This looks like a fucking like just more vegetation version of like the rainforest. Where are we? They always should have like not even timestamps, because sometimes it can be weird. They should at least tell me what planet this is. If Dragon Ball Z tells you what planet they're on, and there's only like 5 fucking planets in the goddamn series, you don't have an excuse.
I mean, you know what? I mean, shit, Dragon Ball, you could loosely say that's a space odyssey at a certain point, because they do travel to they travel to Namek, they travel to the wherever the hell Zenny is.
It would be Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, Dragon Ball Z was a lot of like, we're going to Namek, we're going here, we're going here. I think the only place that they ever travel was like, we can't go to Planet Vegeta. It doesn't exist.
Yeah. But either way, Star Trek wins, so I'm not going to complain. But we have no points set up for this tournament at all.
It's just
so
a win.
It's just a win.
Just a win.
I get a little trophy. My trophy is this Iron Boss Energy.
You're not supposed to advertise.
It's not even.
They're not paying you this. You're getting no dividends.
Suntory Iron Boss, sponsor the show, please. Do it now.
That would be so weird. Now you're gonna get like different Iron Boss things. They're like, yes, American. No, I'm kidding. They're not. America likes our drink.
YouTube is gonna flag our video because they're gonna say you had a endorsed product and you didn't check the box off. Damn it.
Damn it. But anyway, yeah. So Star Trek wins on the best space odyssey. So Victor, tell them. Victor's in the victory, but tell them where they can find you.
You can find me at Suntory Iron Boss.
I just found that hilarious. I said Victor Von Dude. I'm like, oh yeah, he goes by Vaughn sometimes, so this is hilarious.
Oh, wow, yeah. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, maybe I'm Dr. Doom over here. And Lincoln is the Fantastic Four. Like literally all of them, it rolled into one.
Oh wow, nice. Thank you.
There you go. And you can find me at W Von Lewis, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Moshi Pod, Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr. We're also on YouTube and we're also on Twitch. If you're watching this right now, you're on Twitch. You're
on Twitch. Dun, 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 dun. I'm kidding. I'm not doing the themes.
if you're not watching this when it aired, you're watching this on YouTube or Twitch.
Most likely.
Most likely
watching the archive. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Or ever fucking other site that picks up. Like, you ever see those random sites like this? I'm like, that came from something else. Don't you lie to me. Like,
if you're
see the icon in the fucking corner.
If you're watching this on UQ, the Chinese YouTube website, then it's bootlegged, and we're gonna come after them. We're gonna get our lawyers on the case.
Lawyers.
Johnson and Johnson are our lawyers.
Dude, I actually want to have a lawyer that's just Johnson. Like, we're not really that good. I don't care. You have the best names ever. I'm just gonna do that. But yeah, you can find. Oh wait, actually.
T-shirts at StrellSetOthers.com. Podcast is everywhere.
Spotify, Autoboom, podcast. What are you? I don't know what direction it is.
I'm doing all motions. I'm pointing at you. I'm pointing at the people. I'm pointing everywhere. I'm just.
So Spotify, Autoboom, Stitcher, Podcore, Corn. Why do you say corn? Podcore.
Podcore.
Watch that become a site right after I say that. And I think I got them all, or iTunes, whatever, or Spotify.
Yep.
And you can find me at Chiodor, which is my Twitter, or my whole name at Facebook is Lincoln Washington Edwards. Cootie. Yes, I have 2 presidents' names. You do not have to state that to me. Everyone does that. Like, did you know you have 2 presidents' names? I'm like, well, I would hope so. I'm 30. I hope this is not news to me at this point. Like, oh my! I just down and like.
If only John Edwards has had a successful presidential campaign. That
I wanted it. I like.
You could have had 3.
But yes. But with everything else and all to you. I'm doing the whole like Big Brother thing. Just have a different thing. Be a fan and bye for now.
And pork chop. Look at me petting the head of Picard because he won. Oh, little Picard, look at you, oh Picard, you bald little guy, you're so cute. Look at you. He's like a little dog. It's like a little dog. He's right there.
No one can see it if they're hearing it.
That's true. If you're listening to the podcast, hear my
disdain, just like.
if you're listening to the podcast, you probably think I've lost my mind. And in some ways, maybe I have. No, I'm sure.
I'm not even really here. Zach's just talking to himself. He's just he's just putting his voice to like a cutout of me that moves.
Moshi Figment Des.
Figment Des. It was all in his mind. Anyway, bye.